I would personally rate this podcast as a 2 out of 5, but that's just because I have a couple drinks in me. So
because you don't like podcasts.
I'm being very generous.
Hey, welcome back to TapThatAZ. I'm your host, Eric Walters. This week we hang out with Valley of the Sun Foodies, just a group of people who love food and Arizona beer, wine, anything Arizona related as far as a foodie goes. Brian Roper. Brian Roper has been one of my biggest supporters from the beginning. He was actually there when I recorded my very first episode with Mother Road back in November of 2016. We just kind of hit it off, and he's been a big supporter, always helping me out, connecting me with different breweries and people in the scene, and Brian's just awesome. So I wanted to make sure I got him on for an episode. Him and Tracy Swift, actually admin the Valley of the Sun Foodies Facebook group, really passionate about the Arizona food and beer and beverage and wine and all that scene. Very positive people out there supporting the Arizona local scene. So Classy Alcoholic joined us in this one too. As a heads up, this was the 4th episode that I recorded at Mesquite River, all in one day. So if you couldn't tell in this episode, I'd had a few drinks by the time this recording happened, but we had a great time. So let's check it out. Valley of the Sun Foodies. All right. So we're here. We're going to have a little round table.
Okay.
I got some of my peeps here, and these are the Valley of the Sun Foodies.
That's correct.
My buddy Brian Roper, who's been one of my number one fans from the beginning.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah, not my choice, but Brian.
That's good.
Yeah, no, Brian has been awesome. So the first episode I did at Mother Road, that was in like November or December. You were there.
I think it was probably more or less summer, actually.
Yeah.
Where you were there. You were in there before I got in the door at noon, and I had to question. I'm always there at 5 to 12 when the doors open, and you were in there. I said, "Who's this guy in there before me?" So
yeah.
And of
Who's
course,
this
everyone
asshole?
in Flagstaff's from Phoenix. So
yeah. Yes. Absolutely. So we're going to do a little roundtable. We're going to talk about the state of Arizona's beer state. Does that make sense?
that makes sense. That's good.
We're going to talk about
The state of beer.
the state of beer, the state of beer in the state of Arizona. Even Carl at Mesquite River is like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Yeah.
Yes.
Cut him off.
Yeah. So Brian's been
Citizens of Arizona, the state of our beer is strong.
Yes. So we got 3 people here. We got Brian Roper, the creator, the curator of
Valley of the Sun with Tracy Swift.
Tracy Swift is here as well, and we got the Classy Alcoholic.
Oh, hi, I didn't see you there.
Oh, hi. Oh,
As
yeah.
if you haven't gotten sick of me yet, I am back.
Yes. I thought we got
We
you
have gotten
illegally.
sick of him, but
He's always there, like
Yes.
Jack Nicholson.
Yes.
in The Shining.
Even if you haven't gotten sick of me, it's not like I'm going to go away. So
no.
you might as well just give in.
he still has a third of his beer left, so he's not going
He
anywhere.
is. I know. It scares me a little bit. Yeah. So we're going to talk about the Arizona craft beer scene, right? Because that's what I do. Your dad is having a great time. I think you just threw a hook shot.
No, I think he did too. I was chatting with some other people.
That's awesome. So, Arizona craft beer, like this scene, like I moved out here in 2007. Right. There was like 6 places, right? In my opinion, Mother Road started it, but I could be wrong.
Even though we're down in the valley, Mother Road was the big beer. I went to Flagstaff, never cared for Flagstaff, went up there maybe 4 years ago, and that I just fell in love with it. I never liked it when I was in college. It was too hippy-dippy. I was bored with it. And then all of a sudden, cut to, years later, you go up there and there's like, hey, there's 7 breweries, 6 of which you can walk to in the valley or right there in the downtown area.
Yeah.
And Mother Road, that's still one of my favorite beers. There's some killer breweries in the valley. I prefer Mother Road. I love Dragoon in Tucson. And then everybody loves those 2, actually, and in fact, we all met, I think, at
Mother Road.
Mother Road.
You met Brian at Mother Road?
Tracy and
Yes.
her husband,
Really?
Mike.
Yes.
We met at
Absolutely.
Mother Road. In fact, the same day that I met...
With our dogs.
Yes. Same day I met Kathy and Ben, who I'm seeing next week for the first time in Tucson.
In Tucson, and we're still all friends.
And, yeah, we all get together, all follow us on Valley of the Sun Foodies. And the Classy, I started following him and met him in Flagstaff when he was at the Hubaloo, or what was it?
Hullabaloo?
Fest, music
Yeah.
fest there.
And then I said, meet us over at my buddy's wine place, Vino Loco. And he came by. I said, none of us drink wine, but they had a couple good beers on tap. So we.
Well, I drink wine. I mean, I drink.
I
anything,
drink wine too, but beer is the best though, and especially in the summer.
Eric and I'll stick to the
True.
beer then. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I drink wine when it's necessary, but
So I was gonna say if I'm a member of the Valley of the Sun Foodies because no disrespect to anybody, but I'm much younger than the folks at this round table here. So they've been around when a lot of places were open before I got into the scene. So I've learned a lot from them, and it's a Facebook group. I believe you have to get approved, but it's open to anybody.
You can just
go
ask
in.
for approval,
Just
and
ask
it's
for
open.
approval.
And then, of course, anyone can post food-related.
Drink food, anything fun, anything local, helping local businesses really excel. I mean, our goal is to really promote local businesses and good food and good beer, good wine, and good booze.
right.
Everything's subjective, but you know what? Every place you go to has a great drink, has something great to eat. Yelp's kind of screwed the pooch, with everybody wants to complain about everything. Instead, tell your server you wanted more ice. Don't go home and Yelp about it and say I give it a 4 instead of a 5 because I thought my water could have been colder.
That always aggravates me too. It's like you just look at some people's posts and they're always negative, and you look like they don't like anything. So it's our goal is to promote positivity and to give people credit when credit's due. So
And the bigger something gets, the more people want to knock it down.
Yeah.
I went to Bitter and Twisted this past weekend. People who are Valley locals know what a great popular cocktail lounge this is. And they're brilliant that up on their chalkboard they have posted their worst Yelp of the week.
yeah, it's
And
great.
it is
I know it.
brilliant. And it's just like also up in Flagstaff, friends of mine have Sosaba, which is a great noodle shop. They call it the what do they call it? The Unstopped Noodle Shop.
Yep.
And they also have opened a great cocktail lounge attached to it. Well, they opened in downtown Phoenix about maybe 9 months ago, and their business card says, "Give us a bad review on Yelp," because Yelp has almost become
A complaining fest.
laughable.
It's a joke.
And
Yeah.
I haven't watched it as much in years, but one of the greatest shows is South Park because
I love
they
South
can,
Park, man.
They can do.
I was gonna
a
bring it up if you
current-
didn't. Yes.
They can do a current. They can do a current
event.
or anything within a
Something.
week. They
Yeah.
can. Everything's computerized. They're not hand drawing like Disney from the 30s.
Right.
And so they did that one on Yelp. And sadly, there are people that have threatened New York City restaurants that if I have 125,000 followers, and if you don't give me free food, I'll give you a lousy review.
It's terrible.
It is.
It's terrible. They don't realize how much money and time and sweat and tears people put in these businesses.
Right.
Running a restaurant and a brewery, from what I hear from all the brewers, it is a lot of work. So for someone to come
Yeah.
in and just decide they don't like the taste doesn't mean they're the Jesus Christ of beers. Because you don't like it,
Well,
doesn't mean you have a right to write a 0 stars. I just don't listen to that.
Well,
in fact,
think-
I go to the places to check it out for
I'm
myself
personally
when I see
thinking
that.
of actually
Yeah,
starting
I
up
agree.
a beer podcast. And I'm.
What?
Oh, sorry, Eric.
I
So
balled
speaking-
my fist up.
Yes.
Speaking as the Jesus Christ of beers, I want to say that it's
He
easy
truly
for me
is.
to find
He's
breweries.
meditating as we speak.
Yeah,
South Park episode.
Yeah.
it's easy for me to find breweries and vineyards online because there's a handful of breweries. There's only 3 places in Arizona.
Pronounce
to get one.
vineyards.
Oh,
Don't
I'm
act
sorry.
so
I'm sorry.
snooty. but that's all right.
Vineyards. Sorry, English isn't my first language. I apologize,
okay.
but it's easy for me to find places to drink beer and wine. But when it comes to finding quality food specifically in the Valley, because it's such a big fucking place, Valley of the Sun Foodies has been essential. There's a lot of great places in the greater Phoenix area to find. They're a little tucked away, and you got to do a little bit of work. Valley of the Sun Foodies has made it so much easier.
Well, thank you, Mr. Classy,
you
because
very
we
much.
try to make it all inclusive and to kind of find those places that people don't really know about. And I have to say, we've been lucky so far that we've written reviews about many places that weren't even discovered yet are now
That's true.
rated in the top 10 restaurants
And
in the Valley.
And
It's
we're
because
also-
of you, I think.
We're also more so her than me.
It's because AZ Central found us,
Well, and let's face it, AZ Central also, we're also we'll take bits and pieces from other
Yes.
sites as well and notate
share.
them
Yep,
that if
absolutely.
they're
We give
doing
their
their
credit.
top. The other day was National Fried Chicken Day, and I post Happy National Fried Chicken Day. Tracy posts the best 10 places to get fried chicken in the Valley. Some of these come from New Times and all that, so of course
We like to support all the
right.
locals.
Support all the local blogs that offer that out. And again, it's subjective, so people like what they like. I've always said Mexicans, nobody makes nobody makes better tamales like mom. Italians, nobody makes better sauce than mom.
Yep.
So people like what they like.
Right.
If you are from Sicily, like a buddy of mine is, you're probably gonna have something to say about going out to almost every Italian restaurant.
Yep.
Yeah.
But now the great thing is, we just posted something recently about cheese tea. And that was bizarre because
Yes.
I've
never heard of it.
It sounds
I threw up in
weird.
my mouth.
Yeah, a little bit. And by the way, you still need to clean the side of your mouth there a little bit.
It's been a week and a half.
But it's
I'm good.
something like that. That's fun. And a number of people said, hey, I'm going to go check that out because it's a cream cheese top tea, which is
Yep.
obviously not that it's, Swiss cheese in your jasmine pearl, Japanese tea or something like that. But it is nice, and it's open. It's obviously, like I said, Valley of the Sun Foodies. You can go on it. Once you get okayed on there, which, is a guarantee, you can post anything.
post about food,
Post food,
booze.
food related.
Oh, you're a registered sex
Food-related.
offender? Yeah, you're in.
Yes, you do have to post about that. That is actually very important. Not for us.
Hi,
We don't care.
I'm legally obligated to inform you that I'm a registered sex offender on Facebook.
Yes.
Right.
Well, thank you.
We
Please
knew it
get your
just by
hand off
looking
my
at you.
knee.
But no, that's good though, because that's the approach that this show takes is like, I'm not, I've had friends say, you need to tell me, is this a 4.5 out of 5 or what? I don't.
Just enjoy it.
Yeah.
Stop thinking about rating it.
I don't like lagers. Like
Yep.
this, I would rate this lager 3 out of 5 because I don't like lagers. But if you like lagers, this could be a 5 out of 5.
I would personally rate this podcast as a 2 out of 5, but
Yes.
that's just because I have a couple drinks in me. So
Because you don't like podcasts.
I'm being very generous.
Right.
And
right.
so
exactly.
Our
yeah.
goal is just to give as much exposure to new ideas, just so people can try different things. Because I think the biggest thing, coming from the East Coast and moving out to
you're
Phoenix.
kidding with that accent?
I know, I still have it a little bit, it's wearing off a little bit. But the thing is, when I first came out here, just like you said, that there wasn't many breweries. And in the past 4 years, they've just doubled, tripled, quadrupled, I don't know,
Right.
more than that now.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, there are so many great breweries that fly under the radar as well. One of my favorites is North Mountain is really great too.
That's a great place. Yeah.
One place people don't know about as much, but there's just so many in the valley, and it's so happy that Mesquite River is right near, not far from my home, so it's great to come here.
Yep.
And they're all different kinds, and they all partner together, so it's not like this little war between all these breweries. You could have some that
Yes.
focus on Belgian, some on IPAs, some on ambers, some on sours, so it's a really great partnership across the valley, and I can't tell you, I haven't been a brewery where someone wasn't pleasant and willing to share all their stories about
Right.
how they make their beer, and I think that makes it special.
Well, it's
Great.
certainly the industry where everyone, if you're not a Saison person or if you're not a Weizen, well, you don't have to like that. But really, every brewery is going to have a beer you're going to like.
Right.
I'm more of a hophead. I prefer stouts. Yeah, that's great when you go to Modern Times in San Diego, but everywhere you go, for the most part, most people have a stout. Most people have an IPA. Well, everybody. Who doesn't have an IPA today? I mean, the craziest of the beers. But the beer scene, it is exploding. It constantly ends. Enough of this BS with, Arizona has no culture. I can't get this. I can't get that. Well, no one's going to knock on your door. There's Google.
Yep.
Google.
And drive across North Scottsdale Road, drive across the 17, drive across these roads, these imaginary boundaries that everybody places on themselves, East Valley, West Valley, this
Right.
and that. I mean, I've driven across the whole valley, and there are great breweries everywhere. Just get in your car and drive and
Yes.
try them and support them. It's not that difficult to go 20 minutes.
It is not. Like, you feel like, I've never been to 12 West. Like, it's so far away.
Right.
35 minutes.
Well, then on the other hand, too, Eric, you can go to places like Craft 64,
Yeah.
and they carry Arizona-only beers. Now, they don't brew them themselves, but they have, I think, 6 on tap. Then I don't know if Helton does their brewing. I'm not sure who does their
I think
side
Sun
brewing.
Up, Sun
Or
Up does
Sun Up
their
does it, yep.
contract brewing.
And
yeah.
it's a great place. They also have great food there as
Yeah.
well. But they'll have
And
a
Helio
place.
Basin's got great food.
Well, Helio Basin's really great food, which is
food
Native
is
American
top-notch.
specific.
Yeah.
But Craft 64, they're a brilliant place because,
Pizza, too.
let's face it, we'll drive a little distance, but most people don't want to drive to Kingman. Well, they almost always carry a beer from Black Bridge Brewery out of Kingman. They carry a lot of times from Bisbee Brewing Company. They carry a number of
Tombstone, I think.
Tombstone.
yeah.
Well, Tombstone's the big brewery. In fact, the Classy did a blurb recently on Tombstone, and I know it's one of your favorite places, isn't it? You love Tombstone, right?
Tombstone Brewing is fabulous. I would say the town of Tombstone is fine. It's like its own corral. It's
Fine.
okay.
Fabulous. I thought he was going to say
It's a
that
little
again. He's like,
touristy, but it's still cool.
I thought he was
It's
gonna
like
say
its own
fucking
corral.
yeah, I was going to
It's
say he was going to.
okay.
I was waiting for another F word, but yeah.
I had fun. It's good, but you know what? The cowboy shit doesn't do it for me. The reason to go is Tombstone Brewing Company.
Gotta
and
watch
they're
where you're
making
stepping
fabulous
there,
stuff. Yeah, they're fans of mine.
Oh,
They're
fucking
good
Cowboys
folks, but,
here, homie. yeah.
But
I bought
so
a pair,
but
I
if
bought
I
a
could,
pair of cowboy boots in Bisbee, so come on, yeah.
if I could play devil's advocate for a second. Hooah! So the get it? You see what I did there? Anyway, so so there's a lot of folks who he just got it. There's a lot of folks who have said, who are fans of craft beer, but have said, God damn it, do we really need another microbrewery in Arizona, in Tucson, in Phoenix, in Scottsdale, etc.? I mean, y'all do. For me, sobriety is the worst thing that could ever have happened to me. So my goal is to just crush it as fast as possible. But for y'all who enjoy good food, enjoy traveling, at what point do you reach saturation? I mean, at what point is it
Smart,
too
that's
much
true.
to get to try the new whatever the fuck IPA from
Yep.
the new brewery, the 147th brewery that opens up in your neighborhood?
Yeah, and that's a good point. And one of the things that I get concerned about is you have these places that are kind of unique. They're kind of outliers, and you just kind of hope they make it. And then all of a sudden, you start finding these breweries kind of taking the creativity out of their brews and getting more and more mainstream because people like consistency. And I have to tell you, I'm just one of those people. I must be the craziest person in the world, but I love different. And I just love constant change. So I like a lot of breweries that have 6 to 7 beers rotating constantly, so I have a reason to come back over and over again. I know from a restaurant standpoint, from what I understand from business people, that's not the model. You make more money if you have 3 or 4 consistent brews. But for me to get out of the house, especially when it's 120 degrees today, I want something different and unique. And I'm like, I don't want to go back and say I have the same Hefeweizen.
Don't
It's
be
not
a baby. It's only 1/16
yeah,
today.
I like the differences. I might be a little bit unique, but I agree with the saturation. I pose the same question about pizza.
Oh, okay.
Because Phoenix is a pizza city, and we have really good pizza out here. And this is coming from a New Yorker. It is not New York pizza, but it's excellent pizza.
They call it Arizona Pizza in the most recent issue of Phoenix Magazine. It's a great thing about pizza.
And I have to say that there's very few that disappoint me. I have to admit I'm not so much in the Chicago style, but we have a lot of great flatbreads. And I think what's interesting about Arizona is our water is so difficult to work with.
Nobody's into the Chicago style. People from Chicago are into the fucking Chicago style.
No,
That's just a thing tourists go do. Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
I don't get it. Yeah, it's like all cheese and this big piece of dough. I don't know. I don't get it. It's not crispy. It's like, I don't know. I can't do it.
Back in college, people would order extra dough, and I
You got to be drunk to order that pizza. That's why.
And that's why we're all fucking fat.
Excuse me, I'm a supermodel at
And
105.
after you ate that
somebody
big
tell me.
freaking Chicago pizza, then you start eating like, what do you call those pretzel bites and the other cinnamon sticks. It just could add more carbohydrates.
the
to
extra
empty
crust.
over-
Well, if you get a little side of ranch, you can always.
My husband puts ranch on everything. He says there's
Ranch
nothing that
is like
ranch
the
and hot
fat
sauce.
burner of the 21st
Well, and
century.
Tracy's husband is also a fan of probably my least favorite beer, a lot of the Belgiums.
Oh, yes.
And he loves them, and there's some killer places. Most places are doing a Belgium a little bit, or
Beer Research Institute in North Mountain.
yeah,
have two.
BRI, and then of course up in Flag, of course, Wanderlust.
Oh, Wanderlust,
is
yeah.
very
Yeah.
noticeable. Who else would you recommend for
A nice Belgian style.
good Belgiums?
Belgium? Sorry,
Let's go meet the monks, right?
Get on
I
a
like
plane and go meet those Trappist monks.
I like Arizona beers, man. I don't know.
Well, the strange thing about the brewing industry is when I came out here to go to college in the 80s, there were, in the latter 80s, early 90s, a number of breweries. There was a small chain called Hops. One was Scottsdale Fashion Square, sort of where Nordstrom's is today,
Yep.
Yeah.
before they ever built that wing. It was a small chain. There, of course, was the chili beer place up in Carefree or Cave Creek that plopped the jalapeno in the beer.
Oh, was it the place
I
with all the
remember
ties?
It was Cave Creek, right?
Cave Creek
Yeah.
Brewing Company. And
Yeah.
actually, just I was recently at the Whining Pig in downtown Phoenix. Great place, great beer list, great
Yeah.
wine list, 37 beers on tap at that specific location. And they actually pulled out, they have a $2 or $3 beer in a bag special. And the guy said, hey, do you think your dad could handle the beer in the bag? And it was the Cave Creek chip. So I didn't think they even still made it.
I didn't know
with the
they made it
jalapeno,
anymore.
Yeah,
Which would be great
yeah.
with Mexican food because it really does. Yeah, and now there's
It
people doing-
belongs in a museum.
Well, that one does. I thought it actually was in a museum. And I've had a Ghost Pepper IPA. And, of course, Ballast Point came out with their Habanero, one of their newer ones after their big $1 billion sellout, which, who's not going to take that?
I know.
But
What
they
do you,
had-
you can't fault them, right?
It's a whole nother
That
episode
damn,
right
that damn
there.
grapefruit
Yeah,
sculpin, I
yeah.
still will drink if it's on the
The
menu
grapefruit
somewhere.
sculpin, yeah.
Grapefruit, yes, right? That stuff is so good. Or watermelon, Dorado.
Now, I don't like the watermelon Dorado because I
do.
hear they use juicy fruit or juicy
don't give a shit what they-
Jolly Rancher watermelon. But there was a
Classy alcoholic is so disgusted right now,
disgusted
which
right
is
now.
No, I'll drink it. I don't give a fuck. It's great. You know what?
Drink anything.
I like fruity beers. It's delicious.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the beer you won't drink?
Steel Reserve.
that's a
I actually
great
did.
pick.
I actually did drink that once accidentally because I was 12 years ago. I don't even know.
You
My-
ordered the Steel Reserve. How was it accidentally? What are you talking about?
See, 'cause
Well, I'll tell you. So my
That's
girlfriend at the time,
$4.
she needed change or something or cash, and I pulled over a Circle
Was
K. I
she a
said,
girlfriend or a prostitute?
I mean, it was a girlfriend experience, so
Oh,
it
okay.
cost.
Big difference.
She needed $200 in change, is what the story is. Legally, I have to say that.
Oh,
right?
okay.
So my girlfriend at the time, so I gave her like a 20. I pulled up the Circle K and I said, "Go grab me a tall boy or something, whatever." Expecting her to give me like a Bud Light and a tall boy, and then just keep the change. It's fine. She comes up with a 40 Steel Reserve. And I didn't know what it was. Neither did she. I said, "What the hell is that?" She's like, "I don't know. It seemed a couple of like $1 extra than the Bud Light. It's probably good."
It was
I'm
a
like,
pretty
"All right,
silver
cool."
can.
Yeah. Well, it was no. This is a glass 40.
Oh, jeez.
And
Oh,
it's
40s.
What's hilarious is this was this.
She was a classy woman.
This is a
Yeah.
petite,
She was a high-end
petite, like 5'1", pretty girl, brunette. I can't imagine what the guy behind the counter thought. This chick coming up with a fucking 40 of Steel
Well,
Reserve.
he was probably more frightened of
Just
who she was
anyone
bringing.
buying a 40.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I said, yeah, okay, thanks, babe, whatever. Here, keep the rest of the cash. And I got home and I tried it, and it was disgusting.
Ah, yeah.
And
Malt
then-
liquor, though, right?
But then, yes, malt liquor. But then I drank
fuck
more
you
because
up.
I didn't want to waste it.
Well, of course.
And I drank a lot
You're
of
not
it.
a
Not the
heathen.
full thing. Not the full 40.
But you know what's dangerous? There's something in those 40s. And let me tell you, I never knew what a 40 of anything was
malt
until I
liquor, yeah.
escaped one day when I finally got of age and I said, I came from this really quiet conservative family. And I just said, I'm going to do something crazy. And I went and I got a bunch of 40s. Who remembers this? Crazy Horse and Old E. Okay, are
Well,
these
then
East
you-
Coast things?
The
Oh
OA,
my
that's
God,
like gangster rap shit
I know,
right there, right?
it's crazy. I sit
OA.
there and I drank this 40, and someone said, Tracy, in a million years, I'd never see you ever drinking a 40. And I said, well, I just thought it was beer. I learned the difference between malt beer and all
Well,
of the
that was
kinds of
also the
stuff.
first time Tracy got really classy and started her Boone's Farm love affair. So
Well, you know
that's when
what?
she began her wine.
That same
drinking.
I have to
girlfriend.
admit, my first wine was Boone's Farm, probably.
That same girlfriend, she was
Ripple.
slightly older than I was. That was her shit. Boone's Farm and a pack of cigarettes. What did she say? Like,
Well, Tracy
27
is older
cents.
than you, so should we introduce you two again? Hey, guess who's here? You haven't seen her in years. Yeah.
It is funny, though, about those old... Who remembers Zima?
No, they
yes.
just brought it back.
Oh, yeah, Zima.
No, they just brought it back.
I can't
they
believe it.
did.
See, I think of things and they come true. I should just,
I've actually
I'm starting to
seen
think someone's
friends-
following me on somewhere on my Facebook account.
I've actually seen
She's stealing
friends
all my
who have
ideas. I'm not getting
posted-
paid for it.
Really?
Friends have posted photos holding up a Z. Have you ever
I
seen
just had one a couple
dude,
weeks ago.
that's
Yeah,
what-
I haven't
Why
seen
not?
Zima in
It was
20 years.
Yeah, they just
$1.75.
bought
That's
it
the
back
one.
out.
Yes, I wish I had one.
Had you ever?
Not since like 1998.
There's a fucking homeless guy outside. He's probably drinking one right now. He'll share some.
Clear beer.
Well,
Yeah.
it is Scottsdale, so it is a classy homeless person.
exactly.
I mean, Zima, not Mickey's Big Mouth. I mean, come
Exactly.
on.
Yeah.
But no, that's
He's a former Wall Street guy, probably.
Well, you know-
How about Meisterbrau?
Meisterbrow,
Meister
ham.
Chow.
No, my dad was drinking Schlitz in an old style last weekend, so
But you know what came back big time? And you got to give him credit. Pabst Blue Ribbon.
PBR is like the hipster. Actually, up until about a year ago, like PBR was like the hipster beer.
Oh, yeah. You would have a man
Modelo-
bun and a
Modelo
soul patch
took
and everything
over.
going on for
well,
that
you know,
one.
I'll still like a.
PBR is so good.
You know, most of the Mexican
It
beer.
is a good beer.
What's the beer they brought up here recently? "Quote unquote," the higher end beer from Mexico is Victory. That's been in the valley.
Victoria.
Oh, is it Victoria? Oh, it's Victoria.
It's actually Victoria.
Victoria.
Classy
Oh.
just actually did a
Victoria.
silent slap to the face to Brian. Yeah.
It wasn't so silent.
Muy bueno
It'll leave a
cerveza.
mark. But the Victoria.
Victoria.
Oh, it's Victoria. I thought that was that Downingtown
So-
beer. Is that?
I guess
Victory?
I don't know. Actually, I honestly don't know.
It
I don't
sounds
know what I'm
classy
talking
when you
about.
say it like that, though.
Yeah,
Victoria.
Yeah, it's like a French or Spanish speaker. They always sound better. But the you know, everyone's used to Corona and all that. But if you actually have some real beer, if you go to parts of California, or a buddy of mine has a brewery down in Guadalajara, but of course you can't get the beer up here.
Yeah.
When I was in Santa Ana and went to a little Alta Baja restaurant, I said, "Oh, what do you have on tap?" But of course it was 9 in the morning. I was ordering breakfast, and she goes, "Oh, do you want a beer?" I said, "Well, no. It's, you know, of course it's 5 o'clock somewhere." And she said, "Oh,
That's
I'll
right.
bring you a couple samples." And it was beer from Mexico, and it was all stouts and IPAs. So it
Wow.
was something you just do not see because so many people are accustomed to Corona.
And thinking of lime with Mexican beer. I don't know
Well,
why it's
that's-
like intertwined
It's such a-
permanently.
Well, you have to, right? Like it's not a matter of like, oh, this is
like-
so good. A lime would compliment.
It's like
this is
imprinted in your
shitty.
head or something. You're thinking like a beach in Mexico. and
Well,
you
it is
need
funny.
A lime.
Even if you do get a PBR and it's ice cold in a pint and it's $2, you know, it's not the worst thing on the planet.
I'll drink it.
No, yeah.
Whatever. Yeah.
Okay,
Why
who
not?
remembers Genesee Cream Ale?
Genesee
Yes!
Cream Ale.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
my parents, you were the first person first
Eric,
person I've
Eric
ever
and Tracy
met.
just high fived so hard, car alarms went off in the parking lot. That's how hard they high fived.
Yes.
Cream ale. The cream ale was what my parents drank. Like that was. First of all, I've never met. Like my in-laws grew up in Minnesota. They know beer.
Yeah.
I'm like Genesee. They're like.
Did you notice the O in the Minnesota when he said that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Minnesota.
It is kind of like
you
a
know.
separate dialect, isn't
It
it?
is.
Yeah. Fucking bastards. Yeah. But Genesee cream ale. That's amazing. Yeah.
Jenny cream.
Yes, Jenny cream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my husbands grew up with that.
And now my buddy who, when he
One
went
of my
to...
husbands? Is that
Yeah, one of my many. I have several.
Let's back up. One of my husbands.
We were in Arizona, Utah, you know, whatever.
Close to the border, I guess.
Well, the border of Utah for
It's
that,
like one of
actually.
my husband's favorite beers, but his father
That's like saying
was a big
one of my
person.
former children.
My least favorite of my 3 children.
Yeah, my least favorite child. You love that beer.
No, my buddy was spent his birthday out in California, and he said, "Have you ever had California Creamin'?" And it's sort of
That's a good-
vanilla, but
Yes!
only on nitro.
I
I only like it on nitro.
No, I saw where Classy's mind went.
You look
I
like
have
you're
not
going to
had
say
it.
something fresh.
California Creamin' is the name of my sex tape. Anyway,
I was like, wait, I can see the look.
so back to being
I
a
didn't know you
foodie.
were a surfer.
Back to being a foodie, which I am not. I like eats. You know, I'm just a fat piece of shit.
Oh, I watch
But-
you
prefer
eat.
beer
I
or
watch,
food?
Yeah.
I watch people put a bib on you, and then you got all sloppy and dirty. And then after that sex tape, we did go out and have a delicious meal where you were at what was it, Angry Crab or something like that.
Angry
yeah.
Crab, yeah, that's a big fan of the Angry Crab. Like,
Angry crab.
So he has pretty good taste. He went a little crazy on the crab and the crawdads.
So I wanted to ask, you know, I know that there's Tucson just got a designation not too long ago for a UNESCO City
Yes.
of Gastronomy.
Yes.
And I know that
Fake
there's a lot
news.
of fake news.
No, it is
not-
there's a
not
lot of
Tucson
delicious
fans.
restaurants.
There are
Well,
some great
and
restaurants.
what I was about to say is the Phoenix area is supposed to have a lot of really prominent chefs around town, doesn't it? What kind of guys? I don't know prominent chefs.
In the valley here?
Yeah, in the valley.
Well, Scott, you told me,
Conan.
Scott Conan
Yeah.
is, you know, he's big. And then, you know, the
People probably people know
Chef
him.
Bianco.
Chris Bianco won
Bianco,
pizza, which of
yeah,
course
yeah.
was much to the great dismay of Philly and New Yorkers when he won the James Beard Award. What is that, 15 years ago or whatever? And now Bianco's Pizza is a great pizza place, but now there's Chibo and Parlor and Il Forno and all these other pizza places that are all sort of Roman style,
Kinda took a
cooked
style.
where they burn
Yeah.
the not in a bad way, but they burn the crust a little bit.
More
thin
crispy,
crust, right?
very
Yeah, it's a,
thin.
you know,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, I grew up in Jersey. Tracey's from New York. So we had what was called, back east Jersey style pizza, which in a sad sort of state is kind of a, if you can fold your slice of pizza and grease pours off of it, that was what you wanted. And that's not very healthy, let's be honest.
And everything was a slice. When I came out here, I couldn't believe you couldn't order a slice of pizza.
You couldn't order a slice.
I mean, I guess only a few restaurants that offer slices.
Well, why would they want to do that when they're going to charge $20 for an 8-inch pizza?
I know.
Yeah, right.
I gotta tell you, I just made an order. It was like NYPD and Spinatos, and we ordered like 3 toppings for the office. And the next thing I know, it's like $150. I'm like, $150 for pizza? I'm like, what is on there? I get a porterhouse steak.
It's like
2 of them, 3 of them.
It's like everybody's first time to one of those yogurt shops, and you're like, oh, I'm going to add the boba and the kiwi,
Oh, the boba, yeah.
and then you get a $16 bill when you check out for your first blob of yogurt. That's why I think those beer places where you pour your own beer.
Oh yeah, you make a lot of money.
I don't think it's a great idea because, hell, I've had bartenders who give too much head.
Oh,
no comment.
All right, hold on. I got some notes here.
Hoo-ah. Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And when
we gotta reel it in.
And when
shit got just way out of hand.
And when you're pouring your own beer, and you have to dump out that much head, and you're paying by the ounce, it's like all of a sudden it's like, can I get some assistance here?
They're counting on you being bad at pouring.
Well, I think so too.
Right? Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That's how they
That's
make
a
their
good
money.
point. Yes.
And anybody with a pulse should know you must tilt that glass a little bit.
Yes.
Even for the Genesee Cream Ale. And Nitro, of course. Up
Another
there,
high five.
Yeah, high five. There it goes.
Genesee
There it does.
So what I really like is that Phoenix, Arizona as a whole, I think it gets a bit of a bad rap.
Yeah, of course
we're
it
next to California. Everybody
pick
loses
on
their shit over
ourselves. I don't
California.
understand it.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
because
California,
everyone's from
Colorado,
everywhere
like
else.
we're
Colorado, that stuff. But there's a lot of great food, a lot of great beer coming out of this place. And again, Valley of the Sun Foodies is the place that I go to look up the new places, the new great spots for good food and celebrity chefs. I'm an Anthony Bourdain kind of guy because he's a fucking asshole, and so am I.
Who's the asshole?
Anthony Bourdain.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
but I
that's-
like him. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I love him.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. He's the best, man.
It's as close as I get to knowing what a celebrity chef is. And I'll be honest, I think celebrity chefs is like the peak of just.
Well, look at Vegas. None of them. They all have every hotel is filled. Every casino hotel is filled with celebrity chef restaurants. None of whom cook there. Bobby Flay, you put an extra 0 on his paycheck, you get 25% off the till.
Like Ratatouille, remember?
And he shows up twice a year for a Food Network special.
We just had a guy beat Bobby Flay.
Bobby
Sorry,
have
Bobby
another beer.
Fuck Bobby Schley.
Yeah,
He's a dick.
Bobby Flay just got beat by a local Phoenix chef, right? You know about this.
Really?
Right. Stephen Jones downtown.
Yeah.
Oh, Stephen Jones is great. He used
Larder
to be
and
the,
Delt
he was
at the
original
Kimpton.
Blue Hound, right?
Right,
And then he went to one of my other favorite places.
Walrus and Pearl?
Well, yeah. Well, that's Brian's favorite place.
Yes.
He's always eating those damn oysters over there. I have to be more of I'm more of a fan of the Asian and Mexican.
Well, no,
mix.
that's not his. That's Adobo Dragon. That's
I love
not his.
Adobo Dragon.
But he
Where
owns
is this, by the
Downtown
way?
Phoenix at DeSoto.
Yeah,
DeSoto
DeSoto, great
Central Market.
concept. Really
Where,
cool place.
frighteningly, at the Dads and Crawdads Festival, I bumped into the classy alcoholic. I actually wouldn't say I bumped into him as much as I called out his name 5 times, and he probably thought, well, I really can't escape this hell. So, of course, he had to turn around and sit with me. So,
Hashtag boners to butts.
and talking about food, by far the absolute best boudin sausage from Little Miss Barbecue.
Oh, that wins a lot of awards.
That really
gets
wins.
cited
Yeah.
all the time for awards.
But
That
you're
hurt's
right.
Amazing.
We are our
Our own
worst
worst
enemies.
enemy.
And people come here and always say, oh, I want more culture, I want more culture. But when you ask, have you been to the Herb Museum? Have you been this? Have you
No,
been to the
they're
Mint?
lazy.
No.
Yeah.
But I'm like, well, what do you want more culture? And they're like, more bars. I'm thinking, well, we're doing pretty well there.
Yeah.
It's the sad thing about culture is people complain about it, and then I'm on a site called Nextdoor, and I said we need really good restaurants, local restaurants, kind of, the true restaurateur. And I get like, what's really good? Oregano's, and I'm like, that's a chain. And they're like,
No,
oh.
it's a local chain. So
I know,
but still, yeah.
and it's great, and I don't have a problem with oregano's, but they kept quoting chains or local chains, and then someone actually said, well, I really wish there was a what is it, the Corral, the Golden Corral.
The Golden Corral.
And
Well,
at that
they have
point,
those
at
out
that
here,
point
too.
I decided to log off.
South
'cause
Park. There was a
I
South
to-
Park episode,
I
right?
told my,
There's
I
a South
thought
Park
exactly. I thought
about
about it.
everything.
I thought about it, and I said to my husband, I said, I'm going to lose it. And then someone actually said also on the site that they thought that the Longhorn Steakhouse was high end. And then my husband said, you're just being mean. I said, I'm not a food snob, but seriously, the Longhorn Steakhouse, it's decent.
Fuck these people.
You know what?
It's decent, but come on, people, come on, let's just think outside the box
But you know what?
here.
If you go to any city and you pick up and you happen to be there the week of their best of issue, and the people pick it, Olive Garden inevitably always wins in the top 3.
Yeah.
Wins in the top 3 of Italian restaurants, and nothing against that. People like what they like.
It's a big salad.
People will complain. There's been obviously serious problems with the places like Applebee's and Ruby Tuesdays and all these places. People are getting bored with them. They think they've gotten overpriced, but yet they can stand in Cheesecake Factory and they'll wait in line for an hour and a half. And Cheesecake Factory, I'd love to own their stock.
I know. Oh my God. And I do have to say the avocado egg rolls will put you into heart attack mode. I do miss them greatly. I've been on a diet for quite some long time, so I haven't had them, but I still remember them.
Why?
They were
Because
delicious.
because you used to be 86 pounds. Is that why you're on that diet?
86.
So I know
summertime.
Brian and Tracy sound kind of snooty here in the podcast,
Oh,
but when it comes to the when it comes to the Valley of the Sun Foodies, there's no sense of like, oh, you're eating here,
No.
you're a blah, 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 blah.
No,
It is really just
Send us our food.
That's a good
pic.
point, man.
look
That's a
at
really
the
good
stuff
point.
that I tried. It was great.
There's
if
no
you're in the
judgment.
area,
You don't
but-
shame.
Well, that's
Yeah.
the thing. If you're a cook, put your one of our friends,
We'd love to
Lisa.
see your
she
homemade
posts what
food.
she cooks food.
In fact, we'd love to see more homemade food.
Well, that's
posts.
true too.
We'd
I
love to
agree.
see those, because then we want to recreate your recipes because they look so damn good.
Well, that's true too. Now, my friend Julie, she just got back from doing a month trip across the country. Never did it in her life. Finally did it with her kids. To go back and see her mom, and she hit up Arthur Bryant's, the big famous barbecue place in Kansas City, and all these other places. But we do have great food here, and there's been a lot of articles lately about a number of chefs. And regardless of the whole fake news and this, and everybody jumps on everything, which there is truth to that. All of a sudden in the last 2 weeks, there's been, Silvana's been closing a barrio, but it's like, well, no, all of a sudden she's opening a second one and then a new concept.
She's changing, yeah.
Josh Herbert's closing Posh, but then all of a sudden he's changing it into a new concept because a lot of people don't want to pay $120 for a lion, an elephant, and some funky other things. So people are moving with the times.
You have to be innovative to survive because you have a lot of things going on right now.
Well, and millennials, sadly, they want in and out. You walk into a Subway, for crying out loud, and they have the business cards for Grubhub and Postmates and all these delivery services. And really, you have to go have your Subway delivered to you. But unfortunately,
Grubhub and Eat Street deliver local places. I will know because I've had many of it.
you
on my
are a
couch.
delivery.
I deleted the app just because I know it's a bad thing to have.
Well, that's because
was it the delivery for the alcohol? That
Not
one?
for alcohol.
Oh,
No,
I
just
got
for
that in the
food.
mail and I said, this is the absolute worst thing ever. I'm throwing it in the garbage. If I
Self-aware, I like it.
One of my goals is that if I have to force myself to get a house to buy alcohol. Otherwise, I have so much of it.
I would gotta-
You just drink all day long. It's a
Seriously,
terrible thing.
seriously,
You have to keep control.
Tracy and Classy,
Just like food.
when do neither of you have alcohol in the house? I mean, come on, is there
No,
really?
I actually go periods of time without it at all.
Periods of time.
I
Yeah.
do.
At least
I
15
do.
to 20
And I have rules.
Exactly.
And despite the fact that I'm not snobby, I do have a rule when it comes to wine. When I have a $20 bottle of wine in the house, that's got to be drank that night. And I either need someone with me to drink it, because obviously I'm not drinking it by myself, but I will not open a $20 bottle of wine unless I have someone to enjoy it with, because I do not want to throw that wine in the garbage, because I don't care what anybody says. 120 degrees in Arizona, and even if your house is a whopping 80 degrees,
Well, do you
because
have
we
a
keep our houses at
refrigerator?
80 degrees. No, it turns. I'm telling you, it turns terrible.
So do you invite one of your second or third husbands that you were discussing before?
One of my many,
If I'm ever without booze, I'll make tequila out of a fucking cactus. I don't care.
Well, being that we met him in prison, he does make a delicious toilet gin.
Yeah, toilet gin. That's my
Yes.
specialty. I learned from my dad.
Yes.
Got this. I got some toilet whiskey recipe from my ex-girlfriend Rosario Vargas, my on again, off again girlfriend. It's off now because she's in jail and no conjugal visits are allowed. But it will be on again once she gets out of solitary or she breaks out.
She's on Valley of the Sun Foodies, right? Offering up her recipes, her jail recipes.
Rosario Vargas is on Valley of Sun Foodies.
Yes.
Hashtag toilet alcohol. Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that.
Hashtag comeback Rosario Vargas.
I feel we got a little bit off track on that, but I'm okay with that.
Okay. Back to you again.
Each of us. Carl, can I have one more beer?
Thank you.
Your choice.
choice.
I'll take another two, please.
And I'll
Carl.
have a bubbly.
Yeah.
Curd and a half pint.
Yes, thank you.
And all the things we're going to cut out.
We're literally standing right next to the bar, and we can't offer. We actually have to have him come over to us. So that is a
We're
little
literally
snooty.
3 feet from the bar. Fucking poor Carl.
Yes.
Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. Right at this point, each of us are gonna name our favorite Arizona beer. Like, so, oh yeah, I like this. I like
Okay.
this.
Just
No,
one?
Fuck
That's a
you.
great idea.
Yes, one.
Oh,
you
Jesus.
have to name one.
I have to think about that now.
So who wants to start?
Well, me.
Yeah, Brian.
I'm so easy. Okay, and back to this podcast. Mother Road Tower Station. I love
wow.
it. It's sad. It's embarrassing. It sort of ranks up with Dragoon. I love that beer. It's sort of a bitch to get in the valley sometimes. You can always get it, usually in 4-packs. And if anyone's seen it, obviously it's, let's be honest, pathetic to admit, but they also have one of the coolest opening systems. You just crack the whole top of the can off, and you can drink
Oh,
the can
the
like
whole
a
thing?
like a pint container.
Yep.
Pathetic. My dad always said you can wrap, dog shit in pretty wrapping paper, and I'd buy it. So I'm a marketer's dream. But I love that beer. It's great. If you ever go up there once in a while, you, especially on a Friday, and then they usually have a little bit left on Saturday morning. They do a Firkin Friday,
Yeah.
and I've had the a fresh mango Firkin with Tower Station. It's unfiltered. Really, really tasty IPA. Yeah, sort of pathetic, and it's sort of the gimmick answer, but I do like that. I know everybody says Mother Road Tower Station or Dragoon IPA, but I love that beer. If I ever see it on tap, I will order that without. But again, it's tough to get it because they blow out of it in a lot of bars in Phoenix so quickly.
Yeah,
It's
so
high
popular.
demand. That's a super high
And-
demand.
And it's in a
and-
cool
Yeah.
can.
And again,
Yeah.
and I met Eric when he was doing his first podcast at Mother Road, and I'm sure he'll be doing another one probably maybe September, because they can't fulfill right now their they can only can so much. I think it's Helton is actually right now even assisting them brewing their Kolsch because they cannot meet their need.
Yeah.
So they're opening a massive new facility up there. Really great husband and wife who own the place, and certainly not the worst problem you could have.
No.
As long as you have the money to be able to afford the new.
Well, Flagstaff is incredibly expensive. The homes go more than
well,
the valley.
It is. It's pricey, but that's my beer, Tracy.
Well, I have to
All right,
say,
45 minutes later. Tracy.
yeah. He can't help
No,
himself. He
that
might
was
be the only
awesome.
person in the world that talks more than me.
No, I don't know. And when we get together,
I know, but we just-
Sunday becomes Thursday.
Now,
You know.
Tracy, you have to pick one.
Oh, just one. Oh,
One,
it's so
yes.
tough. Okay, the one that comes to my mind, because it's been consistently there every year, is the Baby Belgium from North Mountain Brewing Company.
Nice pick. Yeah.
I
that is
really,
good beer.
I mean, I love all their beers. They're wonderful people. They're, again, family owned, local owned. It's just, they're just real nice. It's kind of like Cheers when you go in there. Anybody could be in that place. There's all walks of life. There's, hipsters, business people. It's a good vibe. But the Baby Belgium is the best. I can mention my second favorite if you want, but
Yeah, absolutely.
Sadly,
second-
I'm like Diane there, and everybody yells at me.
my
no rules.
second favorite is I believe it's called the Paradise, and I don't know if it's on tap anymore, but it's Helio Basin. And if you really want to talk about a guy who puts an unbelievable perfectionism into his beers, it's Helio Basin.
Dustin.
Dustin
That
is
dude is-
incredible.
oh,
I mean,
man.
and we all know him from Southern Tier Brewing Company. He was originally from there,
yes.
which we all mentioned Pumpkin, which is the only good pumpkin beer in the entire universe. I love the smell of that
In
beer.
every universe?
And the entire universe. I like some pumpkin beers, but I don't know. Since I
Pumpkin
moved
porter?
west, I've liked less of it. But I still remember that one.
He's going to disagree with you.
And I do have to say that the passion he puts in his beer, along with the chef that cooks the Native American food, is just an incredible experience. And they just. But I mean, there's not many beers I don't like, but those two just come into mind.
Yes.
Classy.
Classic.
I thought it was going to be harder than it was, but actually, I'll
Genesee
say
Cream Ale.
Borderlands Brewing in Tucson,
yes.
their prickly pear wheat beer.
Oh, that's great.
They don't can it. I don't know how easy it is to get in the valley. Borderlands has really come into their own lately, and they make a great IPA called Tool Avenue. And from what I've seen, they can't keep it on tap at tap rooms out here in the valley. But the prickly pear wheat beer, it's not the first craft beer I've ever tried, but it's the first craft beer that really opened up my eyes to what craft beer could be.
Okay.
That was back in the day, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, back when that was still weird. Borderlands made a vanilla porter. I was like, a dark beer with vanilla? That's weird.
What is wrong with you, crafty?
What's that,
The
Brian?
Noche Dulce?
The Noche Dulce is the
Oh,
vanilla
yes,
porter.
I know
That
that, yes.
that is canon. You can get it out in the valley, all throughout Arizona. But the prickly pear wheat is the first one that really just I got bug-eyed. I thought this is amazing. A beer with prickly pear. Whatever they say, New York City is the greatest city in the world, but you can't get a prickly pear wheat beer out there because that shit doesn't grow there. So,
Nah.
so Tucson
Although I'm sure
is.
someone's doing it there now.
Yeah,
Well, Tucson is an objectively better city than New York for that reason.
For that reason.
Arizona is an
Plus
objectively better
plus
state.
Tucson invented the not the chalupa,
the
it's,
chimichanga.
The chimichanga.
I've heard that.
They
Yeah,
did, yes.
I've
yes.
heard that. I don't know how
Yeah.
true that is, but some dude, some Mexican guy probably dropped the burrito into a deep
That's
fryer
what
and made
that
the chimichanga.
supposedly is the story.
But yeah, Borderlands Brewing Company, my favorite brewery in the state, and the prickly pear wheat beer really is what got me into craft beer more than anything, and I love it still. It's still on tap if you're in the area.
Yeah.
It comes and goes depending on what they're brewing, but it's pretty much a staple, so it's easy to find out in Tucson.
And God, back to Eric, as if we haven't heard enough from him today. But Eric, your favorite brewery?
I
Oh, your favorite
honestly,
beer, I should say.
I felt that this wouldn't come back to me. Yeah. So
Did we put you on the spot? We've
I
been
got
talking
nothing. Oh,
for
my
30
God,
minutes.
You guys, come on.
Pick a beer.
So I got two. All right. Like I'm not prepared. Okay, I got two. No, so I was like the whole northeastern IPA thing. Like I was like, oh, fuck that. It's like a mimosa.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I don't want
Very juicy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't
us-
want that. I don't want
Citrus.
that hazy shit. Right. And like no. And then I tried the 12 West
Oh, 12 West.
K-Lax.
Oh,
Holy
man.
shit.
Their beers are good.
Holy shit. Yeah. So I was like, no, I don't want that. I'm like, what's my options here? Yeah, I'll try that. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Yeah. So they're K-Lax.
I just had it yesterday.
So good. It's almost like a mimosa. I feel embarrassed a little bit, but it's really good.
Great beer. I love 12 West. They're the best. 12 West, your logo is unreadable.
Yeah.
Unreadable. I love
What
y'all.
do you
You're the
mean
best.
by
Oh,
that?
I love you
the
so much.
Roman numerals in there.
It looks like
12
XW. Yeah.
Oh, this is a 12X 4798X. It's like geometry.
Classy
Right?
thought it was a porn site, so
Exactly. I put it on my
Right.
phone.
Yeah. So the K-Lax, 12 West K-Lax,
not to be confused with the X-Lax.
not the X-Lax.
No,
No.
I would highly
But if you
suggest
drink
it.
enough, it will become X-Lax.
That's
yeah,
true.
Yeah. But also,
Most beer will.
the shop, Bingo Bango Bongo.
Oh,
Oh,
great
I
beer.
I
tried
just
that.
tasted
Oh, my
that
God.
yesterday.
You were
They
just
had
talking
it.
about that.
They had it at Craft 64.
The
yeah.
name and the beer, Bingo Bango Bongo, number 2. If it wasn't for K-Lax, that would be number 1.
And that's the shop's collaboration with Modern Times.
Modern Times, yes.
And that's
Shop
in
Beer
Tempe,
Co.
or
in
where's
Tempe.
that?
In Tempe, sort of behind the Tempe Performing Arts Center, I think off First Street.
Real Salado, like Hardy
Oh, right there.
and like
Okay.
First Street.
They also
Yeah.
make a good. The Fightem is good too,
Vitamin is so good.
which is nasty.
Do you know what that means?
I do.
What does it mean, Brian? Do it. Come on. Right in here. Come on. When they tell people
Eric's
what
already
it
said
means.
what Fightem is an acronym for. So go ahead, Eric.
Yeah. So when they ask, PC people, like the lady who was pissed at the Classy Alcoholic, we would tell her it means 5 years in the making. But
Oh,
if
is that-
Brian came up to us and said, "Hey, what's that mean?" we would say, "Fuck you in the mouth."
Yeah.
Yeah.
FYTM
FYTM
from the
Fuck
Shop
you.
Beer Co.
Surrounded
mouth,
by
right?
men. I have no part in this.
Have you
That was
tasted
Tracy's.
I'm
Yeah.
disclaiming my support, but I will say that these guys are a funny bunch to hang out with.
Well, I'm glad
And they
somebody
love
likes me.
beer, wine, and good food, and that makes you my friend.
Mm-hmm.
We'll also be appearing at the opening of the Improv on next Saturday.
What?
for comedic? Yeah.
Why not? Let's do it.
Yeah,
You know what?
let's-
Let's go
let's-
right now.
yeah,
I,
why
see,
not? All right.
I've had enough beers. Like, dude, let's go do improv comedy right now. Look,
I'm
right
gonna
now,
do
dude.
that.
Let's own this town, bro.
Well,
We're so
sometimes I
funny.
get in these moods too. I think, I have access to a lot of TVs and stuff for our work, and I'm like going, oh my God, I have so many ideas for a show. You know, and it's just like sometimes you just wait for that moment to get the courage to go up there and do the improv.
sadly,
and you think you're so damn funny, but then all of a sudden you get up there and you're like, God, it doesn't sound that funny anymore. It's got to be in the moment. It's kind of like my. It's kind
You're
of
truly
like,
horrible. This is
it's kind of like I talk with my coworkers and they always say to me, you know, what's something that comes to your head? I said, you know, when you told me about that store named Birds, I said, I just want to go in there and ask them, do you sell snakes? And then kind of come out like 2 hours later and go, excuse me, can I buy a fish? I mean, I don't know why it's so damn funny. Maybe it doesn't sound funny, but everybody laughs at it all the time. You know, when you just have a stupid name like that, you just want to ask for the opposite. They're like
Nobody
that
here is
movie.
laughing, just saying. But anyway, but that sounds good. It had to be
and
there
that
kind
is
of
Tracy
moment.
after her $20 bottle of wine.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
my only one beer because I do
Brian's
not
dad is
drink and
so
drive.
pissed right now.
And,
Goddamn Tracy.
yes.
Dad came by. He loves me. He knows I'm a good influence. I keep you guys in
Yeah,
check
that's true.
because you guys get bad.
Never.
What do you think, Arizona craft beer scene? Just beer, not pizza, because I love pizza.
I know pizza's my weakness. It's my. If I was to die tomorrow, it's the one thing I'd ask
Oh, me too. Wings. Like, actually, last night was like the rock bottom. I was at fucking Peter Piper's Pizza.
Oh no!
Yes,
for that.
for a goddamn.
Which is weird because he doesn't have children, so
know.
gross.
part. No pants
It's
on.
like Chuck E. Cheese,
It was
West
so
Coast.
weird. Yes, but no, like beer only because I love wings. I love pizza, but Arizona beer. Where do you see it? Where do you see it going next couple years?
I guess probably every 3 months another brewery opening. You know, all it really does is it does make people, and especially if you have food, or access to food, whether it's a neighboring, MRB here,
They partner,
they don't do food, but they have a great place.
and that's important because people aren't comfortable drinking without eating because you know the laws, and you want to make sure you're sober, or have a Uber or a Lyft or whatever other thing.
What's also great here is the water they serve is bubbled water.
Really?
So when they give
At
you,
Mesquite
so not
River.
only if you're switching up, obviously you haven't had water. Well, except without the hot.
He doesn't know what it is.
I
and
got
that's
40
vodka,
ounces of
so-
freedom right here, and it
But,
has not been tapped into.
But yeah, I think every 3 months you hear the same thing in Tucson. It seems like pretty sort of dead up
Tucson,
in
Flag, a
Flagstaff,
little
and
bit.
you know Flag, Sedona, Prescott. Haven't heard too much up there. Prescott opened Copper Ale House somewhat recently. They have some good German food. Still pretty young
See,
brewery.
Prescott's very expensive for real estate, as is
Well, it
Flag.
is. And so they're somewhat, I think, a little slower up there. Like I said, 7 breweries up there, 6 of which you can walk to. But the Phoenix area, you know, Lock Heel opened recently. Mesquite here, a lot of people haven't been to. I think just opened in November.
It's pretty new too. Yep.
I think was it Richter you recently interviewed?
That
They're
was
one of
over
the
in
newer
Peoria?
places.
Peoria, yeah.
There's constant talk about
There's a couple, Twisted Cactus. Or,
Twisted Cactus.
They have just
is
their
out.
first beer.
Like South Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah.
So there's a
Albuquerque.
number of Oro's one of the newer ones. There's a
Oro,
I think
Mesa.
a cidery is opening. So
And downtown is supposed to be the. There's another one.
well,
opened
State
down-
48 is out in Surprise, but they're going to open another location in downtown Phoenix late year or early next year, which they could use. Mother Bunch is a great place, and they have great food there.
love
That
Mother
dude's
Bunch.
been brewing beers for a long time.
But
right?
Mother
downtown-
Bunch, another great
Downtown
one.
Phoenix could honestly have easily. It almost seems more that Tucson's more of on a little bit of a tear right now.
I agree.
And
Yeah.
they have. I'm actually going down, and most likely will bump into the classy alcoholic, and because I want to hit up 1912 and Crooked Tooth.
Oh,
and a
1912
few of
is
the other
awesome.
places. Have you gone there?
Yeah.
So,
1912 is fabulous.
But that's what I see. I see about every 3 months another one. A Tap and Axle or something in downtown Scottsdale I hear
Yep.
is going to open. So, or whatever it's called.
But the key is the environment.
I see that too. You do want an environment.
A kind of a comfort feel.
People bring in kids. If you have a little bit of food, certainly the beer bars keep exploding. And what I like is certainly nothing against Four Peaks or Santan, but I have noticed that a lot of the beer bars recently are not carrying Kilt Lifter and Santan because there's such, get the other stuff. Buy the bullets, buy the 8
Yeah.
barrels.
Those go to
of
all the main
something-
restaurants anyway.
Right. And, I don't
Get
want
the
to go
Bingo
to a
Bango
restaurant.
Bongo, get the K-Lax, get
Right.
The uniqueness.
Two
That's what people
Avenue.
I think are
Yeah.
looking for.
Yep.
They already have the market and the kind of
And
tried
certainly
and
Craft
tested.
64 is one of the big ones.
Yeah, they're great.
I think it's like Tap and Bottle in Tucson carries a killer list, and Craft 64 carries all Arizona beers. And so that's what I foresee. I think it'll just continue, maybe interesting food, make it somewhat family friendly. Obviously the parents aren't going to have 20 drinks while their kids are playing Jenga in the
One of
back.
them will.
Well,
One will.
One parent who will do that.
Yeah. I will always.
that's a good idea.
Always be that parent.
Tracy, what do you think?
Okay, so here's my thing about a little bit of business success from Tracy. Be unique.
Hashtag
and be,
Tracy
be, be,
business.
be unique and be different, and be local, and experiment with the local food and the seasonality that we have here and work with it. I think that the thing that gets my husband and I to come out is the ability to try something that's different and unique. I can go to the grocery store and buy the beers that I originally want, and it's the same old. If I have a craving for a fat tire, for example, it's a consistent beer. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just always going to taste the same.
Right.
I like to have a variety. Of course, you could always have 2 or 3 your staple beers, but focus on local, focus on a sense of community. I think that is a differentiator. I think that keeps people coming to you. I think that the Whining Pig was really good at doing that, at least at their location up near Glendale.
Yeah.
I like the sense of people talking and communicating with each other and discussing what they like and things. I love that. I kind of like the Cheers atmosphere. I don't want to go in a place that feels like a chain or it's always the same. I like smaller, and I think there'll be more. I think some are going to have to fail. You can't keep it at this rate. And the biggest reason, this is my little rant about business, is in Phoenix itself, is that we don't learn from our mistakes. We overbuild. We don't have a high wage earning population. Unfortunately, we build out. We rely on second homes and transplants, and you can't do that. I mean, try to build something for the local populace. In the end, I think it benefits everyone if you stay in business. We want people to stay in business. We don't want people to drop $1 million and be bankrupt. I mean, it's a terrible, horrible thing to go through when you spend all that money on your business and see it fail. So I want to see everybody succeed, but I want them to focus on the community. And I think when you focus on like even Stevens sandwiches, they're doing
Right.
really well. If you have some sort of community
Buy one, give one
aspect,
to,
I mean, it just makes you feel that much better, And so that would be my advice: focus on local, focus on the community, keep it small, and be different.
And I'm going to coin a new phrase about your idea. I'm going to call that farm to table. So I would
God,
like
I've never
to
heard that.
be.
That's brilliant. Hashtag farm to table,
I'm
guys.
unique, aren't I?
I like the.
Oh my God, bro,
accolades
farm to
if
table.
anyone utilizes that phrase. So, yes. Classy.
Well, Tracy said it best. Whatever Brian
I
said is
didn't.
stupid. But what Tracy said, I agree. I mean, a feeling of community is what I look for. I don't want the best beer. I want the best experience while drinking beer. I want to have a good time wherever I go drink. Because, what I always say is give me the best beer in the world. Literally, objectively, the best beer in the world. If I drink it at home, without any pants on the couch, trying to drunk text my ex-girlfriend.
God, I just threw up a little in my mouth.
Using a stack of my law school rejection letters as a coaster, that beer's not going to taste very good.
Yeah.
But give me an okay beer with some good people out at a cool spot. I'll drink 4 or 5 of those.
Yeah.
I love it, and that's my best experiences. I've not had a bad experience with Arizona breweries, Arizona restaurants, but I've had good experience and I've had great experiences. And the great ones are always where you feel at home, and you feel like the brewer, the guy behind the bar, even
Cares.
even the person behind the bar that isn't the brewer, who's just hired, is excited for you to
Yes.
try the new beer. I've been to places, won't name names, but I walk in and the feeling is, oh, you're here. You're welcome. You're welcome. I'm so glad you have the privilege of trying our new beer.
Yeah.
As opposed to a place that goes, I'm
down.
so excited for you to try this new thing. I can't wait for you to try this. Let me give you a sample. And you can feel that. And for me, unfortunately, kind of jumping off what Tracy said about places having to fail, big breweries that have that you're welcome feeling, that make really good beer, they'll last because that beer is going to be on the shelves everywhere. The smaller places, no matter how good their customer service is, maybe the market will not be able to sustain them. And I hope that we can do everything we can to avoid that.
That's why you support local.
Try to support local, support small,
Right.
local and small.
Yeah.
Right.
You can support local and big, and that's fine. You know,
Right.
I love Santan to death. I will never say a bad thing about them, and I will drink their beer till the end of time, as long as they're alive. But I will say that there's a lot of other places that deserve the same amount of love too.
Yes.
Small places that have not reached that level, maybe drink Santan, I don't know, 40% of the time. Definitely drink it. Definitely support
You
them.
also
Buy their
want to
shit.
try a place that offers something besides Galactic Moon Juice, and those are fine beers as well.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's plenty of very, very small businesses that right now, at this moment, are working hard to hit their bottom line at the end of the fiscal year.
And it's a struggle. I mean,
it's a struggle,
They're
yeah.
combined between, you know, and you know,
And it's
whether
hard-
it's an increase in minimum wage, which I did support,
Right.
but I know it's hard on local businesses, as well as the landlords being greedy and taking as much as they can from people's bottom line and trying to find reliable staff. You know, I mean, it's a tough business. It's every night of the week. It's weekends. You know, people think, you know, oh my God. I remember when I was in real estate, people thought, oh, you just can kind of work whatever you want. No. When you own your own business, you work 7 days a week, and if you're not, you will not succeed.
It's
Yeah.
our
It's a
job to
story.
make that struggle easier.
Well, and the
Yeah.
tough thing is you
That's what we're
like
doing
actually
here.
seeing the brewers or the owners working that place.
Yeah.
Because they're the people that you really see the blood, sweat, and tears put into the place.
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing that's great about breweries, more so wine bars, well, you can drink wherever you want, obviously, but there is still something, I think, and maybe just because I'm a bullshitter from back east and have diarrhea of the mouth, but I honestly think you go to any brewery, people chat you up. People
I love it.
talk.
That's what I go
It's
for.
great. Like I said, we met just bullshitting up at Mother Road, and you know, there's truth to that.
I mean, look how many friends we've made on our site.
Well,
just
sadly-
from you and I meeting.
From
you know,
that. Oh, I thought you meant from at breweries, but yeah,
Ah,
that too.
But that brewery is good though.
Right. Oh, yeah. that one.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, think about it. Like all the people at the table here, and all the people sitting in the back of Mesquite River, all these people we've met, all
Right.
these people that I would have never met without a connection to local beer, food. That's amazing. We create a community, and that's what it's about. You know, everybody says they're lacking these things. You know, I lived in Europe twice. I lived in Spain. I lived in Switzerland. And the one thing when I came back to the United States was hard for me was finding community. And I think that, you know, how vast and wide Phoenix is, there is a community here.
Right.
You just gotta look for it. And
Well,
I think downtown really has a lot of
We just
community.
surpassed Philly again. We did it one time, and now we surpassed them again as now the fifth largest city. And yet people still sit there and say Phoenix is
Not a real city.
It's the smallest big city in the country.
Why?
And you know, again, coming from back east, hey, I love going to Boston or New York, growing
Yeah,
up and
amazing.
seeing relatives. You know, Chinatown was great, Koreatown, look, but people forget those were built for a bad reason. They were sort of put together
were slums.
to segregate people of different cultures. And yes, now we have a very large, I think we're the second largest Asian population
Yep.
moving here. So, albeit
We're just young.
albeit maybe, you know, people forget, right? New York City's hundreds and hundreds of years old. Philly, 300 and some years old.
We only had air conditioning in 1950 or something like that.
What are we, 106 years old?
Yeah.
And so, you know, we don't have the crazy high rises and all that. But, you know,
You don't
we're
have the
getting
Ivy
there.
League schools with that, you know. First of all, Ivy will not grow here, probably.
Well, I don't think Ivy League's going to grow anywhere anymore except where they're at. You know,
Yeah.
hey, and ASU's not doing too bad. So,
Hey, go ASU.
All right, I think we should wrap it up at this point.
I'm not done.
Yeah. Are you? Ryan, what do you got to say? We
I'm
went
done.
from Ivy League to ASU.
Yes.
Shut
Excuse
the
me, as a
shit
friend
down.
said, U of A was the Ivy League of the West.
Right.
Can I
Levels.
also say, Tracy and Brian, they're let's say what middle-aged people. Let's say.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
We're middle-aged.
I'll never understand how people their age are obsessed with children's schools and children's sports. These are 19-year-olds. You're arguing about Sun Devils, Wildcats. Who gives a fuck? Like, I know that has nothing to do with beer and food, but you know,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
are like, go send it. But like, these are 19-year-olds. That's creepy. It's weird.
I didn't even know. I have no children, but
This comes-
Sparky is very cute.
Well, this
Sparky
comes
is
from the guy
adorable.
who made the lady at the bar say, "What are you talking about? This
Yes.
is so weird."
I'll never live that down.
That is the best.
Your word disgusting will go on my tombstone.
Yes, Classy will never live it down, but it was out of his head within 30 seconds after the woman
Yes.
ran off from her seat, I would imagine.
Hey, you guys were awesome. This has been great.
Eric, thanks a lot.
Thank you. So much
Thank
fun.
you guys. Yes,
Till next
yes.
time.
We're gonna do another one. I don't know when, so don't hold me to it. So
I think it's a great idea, but the Classy, Tracy and I have decided that you're kind of dead weight. So we really don't need
you guys
you
should probably
involved.
leave. There's been a video camera here the whole time, and I didn't turn it on because these guys are weird. So
I guess I should have worn pants then, but that's
awesome. Hey, thanks for listening to another episode. Coming up next week, big time. Really excited. Goldwater Brewing Company. Awesome interview. These guys were great. Had a good time hanging out with them. Also, really excited. We've got video content coming out. So, got a YouTube channel up now that's going to be releasing previous episodes for all you YouTube people out there that would prefer to listen via YouTube. We got some with audio files up there, but we're going to be adding video starting next week. So hang in there and check out the website, TapThatAZ.com. Follow us on Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. Rating and review on iTunes is always helpful. Subscribe. Let us know how you're enjoying it. Hopefully you are enjoying the show. But, always in the meantime, remember, stay awesome.